What's up guys, I'm Sean. Next mod on my F82 M4 to get it ready for the track is upgrading the brakes. Since my M4 already comes with a factory big brake kit, I'm just going to upgrade the brake lines and the pads and the fluid. So this is what I'm going with. BMW stainless steel brake lines with the insulation sleeve. And I'm going to run performance friction brake pads, the 332 brake compound in the back and the 08 compound in the front. And I also bought the BMW brake coolant deflector kit, and I'm going to use Motul RBF 600 brake fluid. I'm going to start with the brake pads first and do the lines and fluid afterwards. Punch and chisel set. Make sure the e-brake is down. Pull the pin out using pliers, and this metal spring pops out between the brake pads. I'm going to pull on the pads to push the piston back so I can slide out the pads. I'm going to reinstall these after the track event. So these are my street pads. And just pull off the brake sensor right there. Factory rear brake pads. PFC 332 rear brake pads. I'm going to grab the factory backing plate. I'm going to use this because the PFC pads didn't come with a back plate. Do it the same for the other side. Alright, I opened up the brake reservoir cap, and now I just have a rubber end of a random plier. Stick it in between the brake caliper to push back the piston gently. I can grab one of the pads. Make sure that the pad doesn't go too far, like that. That doesn't make sense. The pad's gonna have to line up. The hole in the ears of the pad have to line up with the holes on the brake caliper. Alright, it's optional to install the brake pad wear sensor because these are track pads that I'm only gonna slap on before the track event, and then I'm gonna remove it and reinstall the street pads. So I don't really need to put on the sensor, but it's optional. Line up the ears of the pad with the holes on the caliper. The spring clamp. Factory pin. Put it on the top pin. Make sure you push down the spring clamp. The right rear brake pad has been installed. The pins have slid through in our right spot. The spring clamp is there. So super quick install. Now I just have to do the other side. Driver's side rear brake pads have been installed. Similar to the other side, but this side doesn't have a brake wear sensor cable. Now we're at the front passenger side. Same concept as the rear. Now I got the two tiny pins right there. Get a flathead screwdriver and wedge in between the spring clip. That should come out. Pull on the outside pad, push on the inside pad just to move the pistons back into the caliper. So you can slide out the pad, slide out the pad. Just like the rear, so I'm going to reuse the OEM back plate. The PFC pads do not come with a back plate. Turns out I can't use the OEM back plate with the PFC brake pads. It's like 1 millimeter too wide. I'll just remove this back plate. And it's not a big deal because these are track pads that I'm going to remove anyway for the street. So now I just slide the PFC pads in nice and smoothly. Same thing. I remove the factory backplate, slide in the pads, reinstall the factory pin, make sure it goes into the ears of the new pad and over the spring clamp, run it all up. I'm going to lock in the bottom one first, push on the spring clip from the top, slide in the pin. Alright, this side's pretty much done. I have to do the same for the other side. The driver's side brake pads have been installed. The brake sensor will not fit with the PFC pads, so I'm just going to tuck it away and zip tie it. So now it's time to tackle the stainless steel lines, starting from the rear. But I'm going to re-tighten my brake reservoir cap because you don't want the brake fluid to go everywhere when you open up the lines. By tightening this, it creates a vacuum seal so the fluid won't leak out quickly. This is the BMW kit for the rear. Comes with 2 lines, washer, and the brake nipple cover. So the idea behind the stainless steel lines is that the factory lines are made out of rubber. So under extreme heat, when you're tracking, the fluid gets really hot and the brakes are under a lot of pressure. So therefore, this thing can expand and potentially give you a spongier brake pedal feel. Plus, this can be considered a wear and tear item, especially if you're tracking the car. This is a 7-year-old line. Might as well upgrade it. I have a flare wrench. It's an 11 up here and a 17 down here just to hold it from moving. The back side of the caliper right here, it's a 14. I have a container to catch the fluid because it's going to get really messy. This cap that came with the BMW kit, you use it to just plug up the brake line temporarily. I can just cap it with this thing. The new BMW line, I'm going to install into the caliper first. 14, I'm going to snug it, hand tight. So don't overdo it because you're going to strip it, but snug it up. For the top, we're going to use this washer that came with the kit. It's going to sit right here. That. And then I'm going to remove that cap that I installed there. And then spin on the OEM line. I snugged it up hand tight. So this line is pretty much done. Do the same for the other side. Passenger side has been installed. Now it's just time to tackle the fronts. The BMW kit, 2 lines, comes with the clip right here and the washer. Part off the factory spring clip that goes right here. I already loosened the 14mm back here. Now I just have to loosen the 11mm right there. Get my BMW line. Snug it down using my 14, hand tight. Then position the line. Slide the clip like that. Using the washer and install it to the hard line. Install this clip that came with the kit to this section right here. Passenger side is installed. For the clip, you just use pliers to squeeze it down. And now the line goes to the back of the caliper. So now I just have to install the driver's side. Alright guys, that's a wrap. Stainless steel brake lines have been installed. Track pads have been installed. I bled the brakes. And I made sure that there's no leaks whatsoever coming from the top side or the line side that meets the caliper. Here's the rear setup. This is the insulation sleeve that wraps around the stainless steel line closest to the caliper. The line closest to the caliper will see the most heat. As far as the brake cooling deflector kit, I'm going to install this on another day, so stay tuned for that. All that's left to do is slap on my track wheels and go bed in the brakes. I'm going to repurpose my E46 M3 track wheels. These are the BMW TEAL forged wheels, 18 by 10, ET25 square. And I'm running Nankang AR1 tires, 275/35/18. This setup for the rear is a little aggressive for my M4. And for the front, I may have to run a spacer. These wheels are definitely undersized. On the M4, people easily fit 295s and 305 square. The aggressive setup goes up to 315 square, but I'm just going to use what I have. I'm running a 5mm spacer in the front to give a little bit more room to the front strut. The rears are running no spacers, and it's sort of flush. I definitely can't run 295 or 305s with a 25 offset. This is my temporary track setup. In the future, I may buy 18 by 11 square and run 305 or even 315 square. We'll see. But for now, this will do. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.